Right. So the problem with connecting up that relay diode is, yeah, exactly. You get a superliferous evescence, which is, well, it's a triple eight plus a 9-7. When you get that, then you get a 3219 ABCQWP. That transforms into the crystallized diode, which has a lot of the residue, producing a external defibrillator, which then, well, that's when things get serious, because things then transform into the what we like to call the paper towel roll, which is it's not necessarily a maki. It's it's not really a unagi either. It's one of the five senses, but it lacks the QWERTY. That's right, it's Dvorak. But it also has its own kind of paradigm, if you will. Like Thomas Kuhn would be a little sixes and sevens, frankly. So when you do plug in the 67209 component, you end up with the Ethernet triple base 975 T Earl Grey. That produces a problem because then your snow doesn't melt, and then you've got a chimney leak where you have hornets and wasps coming in, and then the only thing to do is release the possums. After you do that, then you've got a raccoon problem on your hands, and those guys really dislike flashlights. So if you go water skiing, it doesn't really matter if you jump the sharp shark or not. You have to use a non-erasable Sharpie on the whiteboard because it's just designed to work with that XP09 P29. If it was designed to work with XP09 P27, well then, we wouldn't even be having the discussion in the first place. So it does produce a lot of defibrillation with that type of resonance. Now, if we're talking about a 550 frequency wavelength transposer, then then we would have a horse-sized visual X-ray spectrum, and the infrared wavelengths would not have their let's just say blue, green, red, violet hue. It would be more of a saturation revolving around kind of a fuchsia or a taupe coloring, which across that wavelength is a prismatic spectrum that cycles outside of the 0 to 20,000 cycles per second frequency, which leads to an AM/FM switch, and then you get all types of channels that are the type of channels other than Gibraltar and the English. You also get Showtime, but not HBO, and that type of box office doesn't really have the type of mojo that Austin Powers lost. It's kind of it's going back to this PX9273 scenario where you do have a tendency just to kind of click away, and then you have the soldering problem with plugging in that converter. Then you need a switchboard. Then you need a soundboard. Then you need a 3XZ72 capacitor to convert the oscillations, and it becomes this massive headache of wiring and 1973 schematics plus the 1985 schematics, which are don't even go there. It's like doublespeak, graduating from 1984, and all in a electrician's jargon. So that's an engineering as well as a linguistic feat, and you end up also you have to do some time travel there because the Ninth Doctor wasn't after the 8th; it was after the 17th because they, they time traveled. And that kind of paradigm is great for a final draft screenplay, but it doesn't really work out with electronics, does it? Because there's switches there. We have logic gates. We also have the aviational elevators, and whether it's pitch yaw or rolling stone, it doesn't really have its own kind of vibration, and we're back to the oscillations that need to be measured with the 1973 and the 1985 wavelength vibrational schematic, which is, let's put it this way, it's not possible. It's not possible, I tell you! So, that's that.